right, so there is this mistake view that if you can control the state, then you have control of the society. But the society has become so privatized and so delinked in many ways from the state, such that even if you do control the state, you may not be able to control society. This is a Caesar powerful Welsh. There is a mistake view that if you can control the state, then you have control of the society. But the society has become so privatized and so delinked in many ways from the state that in a way that you may not be able to control the people even if you control the state. I guess this is exactly where ZANU-PF is they have lost grip of the control of the people. Even though they are still, married to all these government institutions, they've completely lost, the love of the people. Okay, so today, breaking news. We'll be looking at Chamisa ignites poll battle at Sadc. And Mutsvangwa, finally they speak, they speak, both the mama and the daddy, as far as the arrest of the son is concerned. Again, another battle within the parameters of ZANU-PF, power battle. Okay, I'm not surprised as far as ZANU-PF is concerned, doesn't bother me at all. All right, so before we proceed and really looking into the details of our headlines tonight, I want to say if it's your first time to come across this channel, please do yourself a favor and subscribe. Make sure that you ring the bell so that at least when I'm live, you'll be notified immediately. But I also want to say shout out to my regulars. I want to say shout out to Moses, I'm going to say I'm sorry for the one that I didn't pick up earlier on. I want to say all of y'all, I appreciate you so much for your support. Hilda, it's good to see y'all. All right. And then, guys, do not forget to like the live so that we push algorithm and invite everyone. We are on our way to 100,000 subscribers. Come through, guys. Make sure you share the videos so that at least we are able to reach, every corner of Zimbabwe, so that we are all working together. It's very important. We need to work together. All right, so moving on. That's Nelson Chamisa. He said the leadership is a servant, not a master. To lead is to serve is to enable. A leader is a servant is an enabler. When one serves as a president, a minister, member for parliament, councillor, civil servant, or in any public office, one must enable, not disable. Great leaders enable those whom they serve. Hashtag leaders serve, hashtag for everyone. So the Zimbabwe that we are about to see, it's a Zimbabwe for everyone. This was actually Nelson Chamisa today. The issue of Sadc, it has really been such an interesting one. I've seen different reactions. I think the one that I'm going to pursue tonight is definitely the reaction for Hope Watching Honor. But before I proceed, there's been really a mantra and a myth, around Nelson Chamisa's spirituality. You've heard him say God is in it all the time, and people are like, what are you talking about? This politics, let's be realistic. And the guy's adamant. He keeps on saying God is in it. But I want to take a listen to him speaking as far as his spirituality is concerned. Take a listen, please.
We are fully aware of the anxiety, but you also need to understand that at times it's not necessarily about Nelson Chamisa the person. It's about the people. People make the mistake of thinking that I do things as an individual. No, they are forces. I have one chief advisor. People will say, no, who is his advisor? The Holy Spirit is a powerful advisor, for each and every human being. So it's very important to understand that when we are taking steps or decisive moves, we are motivated and inspired. And of course, we must also carry the best, the people of Zimbabwe as we go. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. Our God is a God of the mountains. He's also a God of the valleys. So whenever things are okay or they are bad, God remains God. And He's the author. His time is the best. We do our best as vessels, as human beings, but ultimately there is the ultimate one. So the secret for me is really to seek His face and to be guided by our Father, because there's a Father in heaven, and He is the author of our existence, our being, our substance, and of course our essence, our purposes. So many people have not understood. They think, oh, this guy is just giving us verses. But when God wires people, when God loads people and downloads people onto the earth and in this world, we are all sent with different instruments and weapons. Some are sent with guns, some are sent with knob carriers and stones, but I was sent with the word. And the bases are very important. That's my calling in leadership, to make sure that I teach others the way, the true way. I teach nations the true way, but I also teach even the church that if we're anchored in Him, our victory is always certain, because He is the one who created the earth in the beginning. So He knows. He sent us here as His own messengers. So we must fulfill what He sent us for. And I can tell you that we are fully aware of the anxiety, but
all right, so you heard him. He has always been saying that God is his anchor. Let me just make this clear for the last time, because I think I've seen that people struggle and battle, dealing with Nelson Chamisa's spirituality. So first and foremost, we are all created by one God, our Father in heaven, God Almighty. Be it you may be a Hindu, a Muslim, Christian, whichever religion you believe in, we are all one people from one Father. So let me explain what this means from a Christianity point of view, because there are so many religions. So what happens with the issue of the Holy Spirit is that you really cannot do anything in this world without any divine support. And the Zimbabwean context is actually even more unique, and I'll explain to you why. Because whether you believe in spirituality or not, ZANU-PF knows that they are operating under a spiritual mantle. There are forces that are controlling them, giving them instructions. Do you remember an article that was written by Mutambara that they used to consult with President Emmerson Mnangagwa's aunt that used to stay in the bush as a sangoma? Him and Mugabe used to go there and consult him. They were calling him the spirit of the medium. He's the one that was controlling Zimbabwe. This is why there's Mbuyane Hande at the middle of Harare, And he was saying that the aunt had the spirit of Mbuyane Hande, who can direct us in which way we should be taking. So you're thinking that in that case you can say spirituality is not important. It is important because there's actually a spiritual hand that is controlling us as we speak. So how then do you actually accuse someone or disrespect Nelson Chamisa because he's just believing in the Holy Spirit that he says is the one that is leading him? Bear in mind, the Holy Spirit leading Chamisa has nothing to do with him being the president. It has more to do with him inquiring divine backup. He did not say he wants you to go after his religion. He never said that. He just said, that's my anchor. ZANU-PF has got their own anchor. The Mbuyane Hande anchor. They've been very clear on that. That the Mbuyane Hande spirit is directing them. So why are you having a problem with Chamisa being directed by the Holy Spirit? Some of the things, they don't need debate. It's simply say, you know what? Whatever he believes in, we respect. All we want is a leader that will take us to our destination in terms of our purpose. Right? When the time comes, then you can also say, let's see your manifesto. Where are your policies? Can we look at the Constitution? But as far as I know, I cannot do anything in this world without the support and the backup of God. And the Holy Spirit too. He orders my steps. So I talk about things that I do know. However, I can still go outside and run business there. But the Holy Spirit gives me divine direction. He tells me there's danger there, you must stop. Don't go outside. Stay in the house, and I stay. Sometimes I can wake up and say, I need to be somewhere. But then the Holy Spirit said, don't go. And I keep remaining in the house. I tell my family, I'm like, no, God says I must not move. It doesn't know to me. I never say that I'm not going to fulfill purpose. I never say that. I'm simply listening to the divine direction. So that one should not even be a question or a discussion. Let him be. What we are focusing on is we need a leader that takes us, all of us, to our destination. When it comes to the time of us looking at the policies, that time will come. If we have to look at the manifesto, the time will come, but this is not actually the time. For now, we are seeking for freedom. That's what Zimbabweans are looking for. We want to be unshackled from all these chains that we are in. We do not have freedom. I told you last time that if I can speak the way that I do, boldly in the middle of Harare, no thug gets to wait for me, no one can come and push my tables, then we have now in freedom, Zimbabweans. But at the moment, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. So prayers up. All right, moving on. The issue of Sadc has really been such a one of a kind. I mean, you have seen what people have been saying from the time that this election was, declared null and void. Even if ZANU-PF had already grabbed the entire thing, the election was declared null and void because of so many irregularities, not only what was written on the report, I mean, from different angles, be it Sadc, be it AU, be it EU, it was definitely even around us as Zimbabwean people. We know the process. We went through it and we saw how many, some of my political parties were subjugated and how many rallies that were banned, which was for the opposition party. So we saw the process. On the election day, we know some areas did not even have ballot papers. You know, people slept on polling station to cast their votes. We saw the process. Even though there were allegations, they paid almost 82 million towards the election and to the person that was supposed to print ballot papers. And allegations are also saying that was Wiki Noshivayo, but he was not able to deliver on the election day. So all these irregularities are the ones where we are today. So Nelson Chamisa approached the Sadc again, but I told you I'll show you what other people's reactions are. So the article was sent out by NewsDay after they had to speak to him and the people around him, and also you hear more on the article now of some of the steps that they took in order for them to actually cement their reporting. So they said engagements are reportedly underway between the Southern African Development Community, which is Sadc, and oppositional political Nelson Chamisa to resolve the August 2023 electoral dispute, NewsDay can exclusively reveal. Chamisa lost the ballot for the second time to President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who won 52.6% of the vote against the opposition leaders, 44% according to official results announced by the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, Chamisa, who lost to Mnangagwa in another disputed poll in 2018, he has, however, refused to recognize Mnangagwa as the legitimate leader of Zimbabwe, describing last year's election as a gigantic fraud. The Sadc Election Observer Mission said the Zimbabwean electoral failed to meet regional and international standards on holding a free, fair, and credible polls. NewsDay has established that Chamisa has since last year been writing to Sadc seeking its intervention on the electoral dispute after efforts to engage Mnangagwa over the matter hit a brick wall. An official from Sadc confided in NewsDay yesterday that the regional body was seized with the Zimbabwean political matter and disclosed that Chamisa had last week written to the regional body following up on his earlier request for the regional body to facilitate resolution of the electoral dispute. Sadc has reportedly responded to Chamisa's request by saying that it was forwarding his case to the relevant Sadc structures for consideration, the sources said. In this follow-up, after Chamisa told the regional body that he was under pressure from the citizens who had pinned their hopes on Sadc to resolve the political crisis facing Zimbabwe, which I completely agree, because I mean, we spoke about this issue, I think, back and forth, literally, which means, and up to date, Zimbabweans are still hanging on a thread. They need a way out. They need a way out. No one is accepting ZANU-PF as the leadership, of Zimbabweans. We can see with all the shenanigans that are going down today that these people do not have the mandate to lead, this nation. So we acknowledge receipt of your letter. This is Sadc responding to Nelson Chamisa, dated the 23rd October 2023. Part of the letter dated April 29th, 2024 read, our view has been that we should patiently wait for further communication regarding any developments following our request. However, since some considerable time has passed, we are writing this letter as a follow-up and to inquire if there has been any consideration and guidance by the relevant Sadc structures as indicated in your letter. Sadc Head of Communication and Public Relations, Barbara Lopi, was not answering calls when NewsDay tried to contact her for a comment. Lopi had not responded to questions sent to her by yesterday evening. Efforts to get the comments from Sadc Executive Secretary Elias Magosi were also fruitless as his mobile was not reachable. This NewsDay. In an interview with the NewsDay yesterday, Chamisa could neither confirm nor deny the correspondence he had with the Sadc Secretariat, but said he was opting for peaceful means to resolve the dispute. Yes, Zimbabwe can assume the chairmanship, but must be clear and resolve the legitimacy issue first for the credibility of Sadc. Chamisa said the key thing for the credibility and integrity of institutions of the region and the continent is that this matter must be resolved and there must be closure. It can't be open-minded, it can't be open-ended We don't have to fertilize and sanitize theft of election and other electoral malpractices. People must not come to office through the window or the back door. He reiterated the call for fresh polls. So Chamisa is calling for fresh election. So there are a number of options to resolve the issue, but the key issue is that there has not be a proper government and a proper election. Ultimately, you said, how we get there is a product of a political settlement and a political dialogue. This is not a Chamisa issue. It's what the people of Zimbabwe want. And that is what is logical and credible from a Sadc perspective, because you don't condemn a process and condone it and ultimately endorse it. So honestly, I completely agree with Nelson Chamisa. I would question, Sadc heavily, because if they would come to Zimbabwe and make sure that they run this whole summit, and again ignoring that there's already an illegitimacy hanging or on the backdrop of the President Emmerson Mnangagwa, and honestly, seeing all that has been happening, especially on the corruption part, we look at the scandals of corruption really under the leadership of President Emmerson Mnangagwa. We also look at the gold mafia. They saw it today. We actually saw reports as well saying that almost the 15 billion Marangeg diamond, Zadc failed to actually locate where the money is. 15 billion Marangeg diamond vanished. Okay, but out of that, Zadc is spending nearly 33 million US dollars to run this whole investigation trio. And you're going to hear more actually from Jealous Mawarire talking about how they literally, these people, will say we have got a project for fixing a road. 1 kilometer of a road that should cost about $1 million to actually fix the road. They will charge you 3 million because there are other politicians who are now in conniving together with the construction company said, we want you to put a 3 million US dollars and then you give us the 2 million back. And we give you 1 million because we know this costs $1 million. This is the kind of corruption that we have. Let me tell you, I once met someone who was actually trying to do business with Zimbabwe, locally, a white woman. I sat down with her at a meeting. She was telling me the same shenanigans that politicians would get involved in whatever deal she was trying to run with Zimbabwe as a nation. And they'll do exactly the same. The truth shall come, the truth will come out at the right time and forum. Yeah, it will come out. So, I really think Sadc needs to do the right thing. Because if they want people to respect their body, they have to stand and defend it. You cannot have rules and regulations that you don't even respect yourself, especially a body. But at the same time, what shocked me also is to look at the South African context. South Africa is definitely like kind of having an upper hand in terms of what can happen in Zimbabwe or not. To my surprise, they complain that no Zimbabweans are flooding into this country. But at the same time, I heard them literally say that we need to learn from ZANU-PF how they ran their election, so at least we can retain some of the metropolitan that we lost. Can you hear that? They think that ZANU-PF should actually help them to run this election. I said ZANU-PF. You saw Russia as well. Zadc was there in Russia. I also saw them, it was in China, if I'm not mistaken. No, sorry, it's India. My apologies. The people that we question their integrity. But no. This thing is deeper, y'all. That's why I'm saying, please let Chamisa throw the scriptures. This is very spiritual. I'm a firm believer that when somebody begin to find their strides, especially doing wrong, it means that the spiritual world is heavily in control. You can't take that for granted. This is a big deal. It is definitely a big deal. A lot of corruption really in the country. Heavy, like Zimbabwe is becoming scary. Someone told me today, said, before you talk about politicians, our society on its own has become so corrupt that each and every person wants a cut. No one is willing to say, okay, it's 20 rand or it's $20. No, they want to lie back and forth. But again, I know when poverty strikes, if you see the kind of criminality that's going on in the country are shocking because of poverty. Poverty is the problem. Poverty is the problem. So Nelson Chamisa is still seeking for new polls. As some are saying, they don't think it's going to happen. But because I'm a very positive person, okay? I'm not negative. I'm a firm believer that anything is possible. With God, all things are possible. And so I'm not going to sit here and say, no, I don't think it's going to happen. No. With God, all things. And I said all, I did not say some. I said all things are possible with God. So we have to be positive. It may not be an issue of having, a new election, but I really think Sadc to come to Zimbabwe and do all their drama and do whatever they need to do in the country and ignore this matter. I don't think so. I also don't think that Zimbabweans are going to sit back and doing nothing as well. I'm sure this is simply a protocol. We will send you information because we are trying to communicate properly. There's always channels that needs to be honored. And Sadc is very close. I'm sure they've been writing in different places, and you know that. You've seen Chamisa sitting with different diplomacy. Even though people are saying we must really be careful, but we can't deny the fact that this has been happening. But I told you there's one comment that was very much outstanding, differently from mine, that was from Hopo Chingona. I want to go through his comment, because Hopo has been very adamant when it comes to the issue of Sadc, that we need to be careful. He just says Sadc is not going to do anything. But it's very important that I read his comment. I also want to hear what you guys think in the comment section, please. Feel free to comment, again, respectfully, okay? He said, the Zimbabwean election was shambolic and rigged, but it is important to tell the citizen the truth. It is over. There's nothing Sadc would do. This is Hopo Chingona. He said the Sadc Executive Secretary, Elias M. Mogose, made a pronouncement in February that Sadc has no powers to reorder an election and that no such thing will happen. He went further to say that he was disappointed that there are some citizens of Sadc who believe that Sadc can reorder an election in a member state. It is said when citizens are made to believe in fairy stories that will never be fulfilled, tell the citizen the truth that for now there is no plan until the opposition is bold and fearless to fight the ZANU-PF corrupt rule. Zimbabweans must know that no Messiah is coming to save them from ZANU-PF's corrupt rule. It is Zimbabweans themselves who must unshackle from corrupt rule, and only then will the likes of Sadc appear. Forget Sadc and don't believe the lies that it will do something. It won't do anything for us. So this is Hopo Chingona. By the way, Chamisa never says Sadc is going to do something. So I want to be clear on that. Chamisa simply wrote a letter to Sadc. But Hopo Chingona says, guys, the Sadc thing we must not pursue it. But personally, I'm very much of a traditional person. I'm in the 80s, so I'm very much traditional at heart. Even though I look, but I'm very much traditional at heart. And I still believe that there are protocols that needs to be followed. Because what Chamisa says always be afraid of is violence. Okay, honestly, he's like me. I can't sleep when someone is hurt. I can only imagine as a leader, and here that's, there's been a lot happening, guys. People being abducted, people being tortured. Some people were killed. A lot of people were killed in the opposition. Guys, it's all on his shoulder. I can only imagine. So for him to keep, putting people's lives at risk can be tricky. But like I said to you, there's always a way out in life. God will meet you at the point of your need. So if you are not really a person who likes violence, he knows how to deal with you. That's why it's not every battle that you need to fight. If you read throughout history, some battles people will fight, like real much fight. Others they were not fighting, but one person will be used to bring the freedom that people are pursuing. I guess he's also trying to take that route to say, I can't afford, to step on dead bodies on my way to the State House. Should he finds himself there? But don't forget that there are different angles that are coming to play now. There's also faction that is heating up, and I said it's heating up in ZANU-PF, very much so. There are speculations that ZANU-PF, maybe Chiwenga is kind of going to come with Xavier Kasukwire, also against ED. These are simply speculations that are all over the place. So like I said, God is always going to meet you at the point of your needs, depending on how you fight a battle, So I'm a firm believer that there's always going to be a way out. Whether people like it or not, the way out is there, And I still believe as well that based on what ZANU-PF has done over the years in terms of evil, and I'm very clear on that, the seeds they've sown over the years, they're not just going to slide. There's going to be, they have to pay it heavily, unfortunately. That's how life is. You cannot escape. Some may have escaped maybe through death or through death, or maybe anything happens. Some of them left the party. But I'm a firm believer that the seeds they've sown over the years will come and fall heavily on their shoulders. It's gonna be a tough one that is coming up for some of the ZANU-PF members, especially those ones that have been heavily involved in corruption. I want to say to you, brother, because I know there's a lot of people in Zimbabwe who watch these videos, and please, if you can record and circulate it as much as you can. I want them to hear me and hear me. Wow. I'm not a politician, but what I'm telling you is, if you have been dipping your hands in the jar of corruption, it's going to come for you heavily. You're not going to escape. Yes, it's that season. It's the season of paying for the evil that you've done over the years. The people that you hurt, it's not going to just go, unchallenged. No, it doesn't work like that in life. Some of you are going to pay it heavily. Even if you don't, your children will do so. And some of your kids are going to lose everything that you've been looting. So they'll move from glory to down. During the day I was thinking, I don't know, maybe that was the Holy Spirit kind of whispering in my ears and said to me, listen, even some of the handbags that you have in your cupboards, the Louis Vuitton handbags, we're going to be selling them. We're getting those houses and we're pulling everything. Listen, there's going to be some souls in the country, y'all, because the wicked will not going to go unchallenged. Some of you will face prison heavily. We're not fools like you think we are fools. It's going to rain, y'all. It's going to rain very soon, actually. So I just wanted to, as a side note, so that can be on record, so when the time comes, I'm like, but I warned you, right? I warned you that sit down and talk to these people, because you're not going to escape, right? If your parents are doing evil, just be afraid. You must tell them the truth and say, hey, don't leave your burden with me, yeah. Don't. The time is coming where you have to pay. While we are there with the issue of corruption, again, another problem that we are facing in Zimbabwe, a issue of corruption. We saw that the ZAC, the ZAC, Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, actually, they said we can't trace Mugabe's US 15 billion diamonds. That's what I'm telling you. And they're thinking, guys, we are losing almost $1 billion every year, confirmed by ZAC again, 1 billion. Through financial illicit flows. We're talking about only through financial illicit flows. We even talk about some of the things that happens within the country, right? Some of the monies that are being used, maybe to build houses there, so I can live poshy, buying cars. Do not forget that was Gajena as well. They scrapped his crime, that alleged crime that he committed in, where he looted the money that was belonged to the poor, $5 million US. He's free. He got his cars back. That Porsche that was making noise in Bordeaux, that people were complaining that some people were complaining. I don't know if my relatives were also hearing that noise there in Bordeaux. So they're saying they can't find the 15 billion Marange diamond. Vanished. They're also saying that they've spent 33.3 million to fight corruption. This is 33.3 million. It's almost 600 something million US. And also in rands, sorry, my bad, in rands fighting corruption. Huh? Do you know, I was thinking about the amount of money that South Africa spent when they were doing the Commission of Inquiry. So the Commission of Inquiry that they ran with the Chief Justice, I remember that time, they spent about R1 billion. And there's two people that are going to be, according to them, they're going to be arrested. So Zimbabwe, we never saw no inquiry. Did you ever see them in court tours? Did you see any inquiry happened in the country? Like really, that you saw live or something? They've spent nearly 600 something thousand in rands. But there was never an inquiry. I didn't see it. Maybe it happened indoors. So I'm trying to understand 33.3 million. Was that through phone calls, research, investigations? Because there was not, I I did not see. If you saw something, please just help me. But I was really waiting when I saw that they were spending such a lot of money. I wanted to see live visuals when they're interrogating people, you know, in court. But I never saw nothing of that. Nothing, absolutely nothing. All right. But they spent such a lot of money. So she confirmed, that is my lady, General Justice Lois Matanda, that the country is losing nearly over 1.8 billion, this is almost 2 billion, annually through corruption and illicit financial flows, resulting in the derailment of its plans to attain an upper middle income income economy vision by 2030. But you know, there's something that I like when she was speaking. She said something so powerful. She said, the 2030 mantra that we are singing today, it is unachievable if we carry on with this corruption. I loved that statement because I think in a way she was not directly saying, guys, forget about the 2030 because no one is going to buy it because the corruption is so deep and Zimbabweans are rejecting it. I think we have reached we have reached that point, Yekuti, whether you are like very much entrenched in ZANU-PF or you're not, everybody has seen now that the country is going definitely south. And like I've always said, if we don't turn, especially when people speak, it's a warning. And you don't act, it's gonna end very badly than you actually saying, you know what, guys, honestly, if I can bring back some money, I can. You know, that settlement kind of. And if you think that, no, I'm not gonna do it, I'll be, no, you better talk to these guys before things, you know, go haywire, because they will. People get you. People will get you. The time will come when you're going to pay it very, very heavily. Okay, so moving on, the Mutsvangwa people, right? So quite interesting, really, days ahead. First and foremost, remember Mutsvangwa was removed from his ministerial position and he went quiet for some times. But again, Mutsvangwa, as much as I respect and love him, I cannot forget the words that he said prior to elections. You remember when he said, yo, you know, we took the arms to fight for this country. If you want to take back Zimbabwe, you're going to do exactly what we did to Smith. Do you remember those words that came out of Mutsvangwa? Forget about the words. He's known for being so, like, arrogant when he speaks. You know, he has no regard for people. I keep on telling you that the laws of life is no respect of persons. That's why even the presidents, that does all manner of things. So remember the president of Gabon who says, please make noise, please make noise. Do you also remember that is the one, which country is this again, that I'm looking for the daughter that was a multi-billionaire who had the hair also seized in the UK? You remember? It's that people get too excited in position and forget that things change. Life do change, okay? Don't be too comfortable where you are. Life will change, especially when you mistreat people. Okay, because those are your seeds, and you just have to reap them. There's no any other way around. So Mutsvangwa, he was on record recently saying to people, don't disrespect the Zig. Take a listen, please.
What am I saying? I'm saying to those who want to run down the Zig, trader and giving it a false value. Holiday Inn hotel. Our security apparatus yakabva muhondo will be alert this time. We want to ask you, what am I saying? I'm saying to those who want to run down the Zig, trader and giving it a false value. Holiday Inn hotel. Our security apparatus yakabva muhondo will be alert this time. We want to ask you, what?
This is quite interesting, okay? Hearing Mutsvangwa say that, and fast forward, his son gets arrested for fraud. He wasn't arrested alone. He was literally arrested with other guys. So I'm going to read the statement from the police. So this is the arrest of Neville Mutsvangwa and 2 others for unlawfully trading in cash. The Zimbabwe Republic Police confirms the arrest of Neville Mutsvangwa, 44, Elias Majachani, 45, and Simbarashi Chinkana, 38, for contravening Section 14, Subsection 1 of the Bank Use Promotion and Suspension of Money Laundering Act, Chapter 24, Subsection 20, Chapter 24.24. The trio is expected to appear in court on the 10th of May 2024, which means it's tomorrow. Now, the father, he's on record bastardizing money changers. If you mess up with those zig, you're going to prison. You're going to be arrested. Fast forward, the son is being arrested for changing money. Allegations are he actually had the zig against the dollar on his status. Because remember, they did not want to see money changes. First and foremost, I do not think if allegations are true, he was actually operating on the streets. Of course, he was caught in his house in Mount Pleasant. Remember, the anti-corruption are also very smart now. Those people they can phone you like, we need this kind of money, or like conniving with someone so they can get you because they can hear things. One thing I'll tell you about police Zimbabwe, they are known for being really top class in terms of investigations. The only time they kind of sleep on a crime is because there are politicians involved, and it's known. Police Zimbabwe, I must say shout out to them, they're very good at police, but politicians corrupt them. Dirty politicians corrupt our police. So, wasn't him knowing that the son was doing that. The son is also very arrogant like the dad. If you hear him speaking, he speaks form. He's very eloquent, but he's full of himself. He talks about how educated he is. He talks about what the things the way that he speaks exactly like his dad, arrogantly as ever. And I did not expect him to be like that. You know why? It's because I know the kids of rich men. He has been in the pavements of ZANU-PF for a long time, and him staying as an ambassador in China and get to create a lot of relationship with some of these Chinese investors. I'm sure there's so much money that they made. They seems to really be successful. You can see the mom dressed very much classy, always, gold nails, and really one of the women that I respect that really dress classy is her. Mom Changwa, she dressed so well. So I'm sure they were much aware of what was happening. But because, you see, politicians think they're so smart. They will tell you that this is so wrong, but their kids doing it, or they're actually doing it. But it's wrong when someone else who is not in the political party is doing it. Remember? A crime is a crime when it's not being done by a ZANU-PF member. Don't forget, if they can beat up people, don't forget that, if you remember the issue that happened in Bulawayo where they went and beat mothers and stripped them naked. Do you remember that story? And it just went down like that. Nobody, it was never investigated. Nobody was arrested, even though the people were pointed. You also remember last time when they were beating up old people in Murewa? Was it in Murewa or, I don't remember, Murewa or Uzumba, I don't remember that space. And they get away with a lot of things. So people are saying here, this is definitely politically motivated in terms of the faction in ZANU-PF. Is that head-on fight? Remember, Mutsvangwa was at the forefront of the fight, of Mnangagwa against Robert Mugabe. And I don't remember when they were singing that time. He had that gamba, she dancer, and he was like, he had like the last laugh, clapping hands with that other man. You remember dancing, excited, man. It was like, finally we are here. But like I said, your seeds, they're always going to follow you. You see, the evil seeds, they have a tendency of following you wherever you go, So I'm surprised that the very same man who was hailing with all laughter and excitement, all of a sudden today, he's now head-on facing the same music, right? The law of sowing and reaping. I've always been telling you, mind the seeds that you're sowing, because it's going to come back. Now, the same Mutsvangwa now is the wife. He's saying, no, they're after me. They're after me and my husband. Take a listen, please.
It's definitely victimization because
I'm very sorry, it's very low.
So I don't know what it is and why it had to wait for me to be away. So I don't know.
So she's saying, my child.
It's definitely political victimization because Mnangagwa trade in foreign currency, trade in zig. So I don't know what it is and wanted to wait for me to be away. So
Okay, so you said my son doesn't trade in Zig, and why did they wait for me to be away? Because they were just waiting so that they can actually apprehend my son, but it's definitely politically motivated. Okay, that was a kick on his own. I'm like, okay, yeah. But also Mchang was on record saying that we will remove any person. You know, he said the ZANU-PF is such a powerful party that we can actually take down any person. That was Mchangwa saying that. So he says no one is stronger than the party. We can take you down when we want. If we want to, we'll take you down. That is Mchangwa on record. Take a listen to him. I want you to take a listen, please.
Is on prosperity for the Zimbabwe people, especially with the advent of the new Second Republic. I've seen two dictators, the back of two dictators. The first one was Ian Smith, as a young man, and the second one was Mugabe. So I can't be told about how to remove people who are baddies from power by anybody who has never achieved that. The parties which are complaining too much, they spent 20 years trying to remove Mugabe and they couldn't remove him. We, the war veterans, decided that we wanted him out in 20 months we had him out. So we know the practical realities of dealing with state power. The state of Zimbabwe, it was not given to us. It is not inherited like some of the African states. We fought for it. Its place there is by right of fighting. And for you just to come from somewhere and say, I now want the state of Zimbabwe to be reformed to suit my circumstances, I say, go the same way we did. You go and fight the Zimbabwe state, go outside the country or go for wherever you want and you fight it, then you form your own state.
Hello guys, welcome to Okay, let me just make this clear. Okay, first and foremost, ZANU-PF is overrated. I'm going to make it clear. ZANU-PF have mastered the art of using words. You know, like intimidate you with the words, then you shiver. These people are overrated. You know, and Ismail Mutsvangwa, he's a mouthful. Very arrogant, you know, ruthless dude. So, okay, so the words that you said back at you, sir, you know what to do, right? Do the right thing, Mr. Mutsvangwa. Do the right thing. You know, but as a father, of course, I know right now is filming. Maybe we have whisk and you're boiling. He's boiling in the corner, Mr. Mutsvangwa. You know exactly what to do. Do the right thing and defend what's yours. I mean, that's your child. I mean, I can only imagine. Guys, it's tough to hear that your child is in prison. It's tough, y'all. It's tough. Like, I can only imagine. It's tough for any parent, honestly. But I'm sure they will do the right thing. And, you know, since they're going tomorrow, I'm sure it's to apply for bail, whatever the case may be. We're just watching. Again, people are saying it's catch and release. This has been going on in ZANU-PF for a long time. The catch and the release. But like I said to you, everything's on record, don't forget. I'm just worried about young people who are being you know, robbed by elders to get into all these shenanigans. That issues the majority of them will be going to heaven because they're signing out. You know, age is amazing. You know, God has a sense of humor. Whether you think you can don't do something, no, because there's a sense of humor. You know, there's a term that is going to say it's over. It's just over. You need to come home and be with me, so I can deal with your nonsense that you were doing on earth. You know, yeah. All right, so we're gonna move on. The question that we have now. So I saw an interview that was done by Jealous, incredible interview, honestly, with Dana, incredible. I was waiting for it because I know how Jealous is so much against the military junta, and you know, the military, the military. He had an incredible interview, but I want you to listen to him. Very important interview, actually. You know, very, very important, especially in the times that we are in right now. There are things that actually go there, which again, is on HSTV. You can also watch it right there. But I want us to listen to some of the things that he said. Very powerful submissions there. Again, still talking about the issue of elections, because whether you like it or not, there's a lot going on right now. Anything can happen. Anything can erupt. And also, preparations are going on. Because one thing I'll tell you, people are actually campaigning. ZANU-PF is like only a full-blown campaign. ZANU-PF is worse. Because you know why? They know that they don't have the people. So they're desperate. They're on a full-blown campaign. I've seen the president's wife, Mrs. Auxilia Mnangagwa, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa. I've seen her, cooking, in different cities, inviting people, cooking for their meals, and, I've seen, we have seen Moda as well, talking about the 2030 mantra, his children, President Emmerson Mnangagwa on his own, all the other Sadc as well, giving out cars. ZANU-PF is only a full-blown campaign. But they're not the only ones that are campaigning. The other people that are campaigning, I'm not going to say much. Yes, they're like campaigning, It's going to be interesting, the times that we're approaching now. So, now that we're here, and also people are just asking, what's up with Chamisa? And let me just say this. Okay, this one is for Chamisa, actually. Because I support Nelson Chamisa. I'm going to say this, sir. You don't talk to me, but if you can hear me out. This time, we don't want to hear any strategic ambiguity, anything. We want to put our information out there. This time, we need to start assassinating a culture. A culture. Yep, secrecy, privacy. We need to start building a culture of transparency and authenticity, honesty. It does not make, don't worry. If I want to support whoever I want to support, no one, absolutely no one will change me or change who I am. There's no amount of money that will change my vote. So I'm trying to say, sir, whatever you guys are planning with the people, whatever that you're doing there, you people, nothing that has to be. We want all the things must be in the open, because you know what? They don't have no ammunition to fight you. Because people love you. They're just waiting for you to say, let's move. They're like, so the kind of people like that, why are you hiding? We don't want any ambiguity of any sort. We are in to move. You know what I mean? So, no, there's no ambiguity. We don't want to hear about ambiguity. Okay, so we're going to listen to Jealousy, please. So, very powerful man. Interesting human being. Take a listen, please.
That's my understanding of the import of the Constitution. So for me, the most important thing, or the most important players, are the people. So I would like to believe that our people have been depoliticized. They've been dislocated from the mainstream political activities solely because of how we came to be where we are. Because now we are defined as people that are living under the Second Republic. And we cannot run away from interrogating how the so-called Second Republic came into being. It came on the backdrop of a military takeover of government. And the military takeover of government precisely means that you have a government by other people for the people. This is a government created by other people for the people. It's not a government of the people by the people. So this is where we are, and these are the results, the results of the violent takeover of state power by the military.
But how do you
cannot run away from?
How do you continue justifying this government as a government of a military coup when we have had two successive elections that have seen people repositing their faith in the presence of President Emmerson Mnangagwa?
I think basically when you're looking at an election, you're looking at the processes that lead to people freely choosing those that they intend to take over the governance of their country. Did our people in 2018 freely participate in the electoral processes? Did our people in 2023 freely participate in the electoral processes? The answer to me is no. We have political players that were disqualified from participating in electoral processes. Some of them, the example of the exiled former ZANU-PF member, Sevia Kasukwere, he did not participate. Why? Firstly, because he finds himself outside of the country, outside of the party that he was in. was the reason. The reason was the military takeover. So if you have an election where other players, key political actors who cannot participate in that context, and they can't participate because someone is saying you cannot be in the space, in the jurisdiction called Zimbabwe, because if you come here, we will turn guns on you. So this is the environment that characterized our political participation from November 15, 2017 up to now. We have had, actually, recently, there are statements being said, Pasinaningi, and on the backdrop of a violent takeover of political power, that is very scary. It's something that actually demobilizes people. It doesn't create a conducive environment for people to freely participate in political processes in our country, because we are not lost to what happened 8, 7 or so years ago. We know what happened. And we know what differing with those that have access to the armory means. And that defines our politics. Until we come to terms, we sit down and we allow each other to voice that concern, and we address those fears, we will not build anything sustainable.
But Julius, before this military takeover, you have sided and supported those that have denied Zimbabweans a voice. You sided with Robert Gabriel Mugabe, and he denied many Zimbabweans a voice. In fact, people were disappeared during Robert Gabriel Mugabe's tenure as president of this country. What makes you now turn around and start looking at other people's freedoms when you sided with those that took people's freedoms at that time?
I think that's a wrong observation. Maybe I don't know how you got to that conclusion. If you say I sided with President Mugabe, I don't see where I sided with him. I only made myself available to assist him after the military takeover of government. If you trace my political participation, you will see that I was involved in political parties that were opposing him. And I was opposing solely on the basis that we needed to give some other players a chance. And this is what was informing the grouping that we had with Mnangagwa, with Didmas Mtasa, with Rugare Gumbo in 2014, 2015, 2016, when we formed the People First. The People First wasn't a grouping that was supporting President Mugabe. If my memory serves me well, it was a grouping that was opposed to the continuation of the tenure of President Mugabe.
Was it really
in power? Yes, that's what we were opposed to. We were saying we wanted democratic processes within ZANU-PF to lead to a succession, and some of us supported Mnangagwa, and rightly so, and we are not ashamed that we supported her. And we wanted a peaceful takeover. We wanted to support Mnangagwa, not to take over from President Robert Mugabe through a military assisted transition. No, we wanted a democratic process within the country, because Mnangagwa, by the way, had been expelled from ZANU-PF, and we thought we could harness those people that supported her. And we had talks with the late Morgan Richard Tsvangirai to try to build a formidable united opposition to contest in 2018. That was the purpose. And we had actually a lot of engagements. We had a lot of processes that were aimed at actually building a formidable opposition, so that in 2018 we're supposed to contest and have
some argue
opposition.
Some argue, Jealous, that the group of people that you're talking about was not really about freedoms of the people. In fact, these were sour losers who had benefited from oppression of people from years in President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, the late, may his soul rest in peace, government. And now, because they had been chucked out by the then powerful Lacoste in ZANU-PF, they were not for the people or for freedom. They were for power and self-aggrandizement.
I don't subscribe to that school of thought, and I don't actually believe to freeze people in certain historical moments and say this person is like this and cannot transform into something useful. Because mind you, these are the same people. You're looking at people like Mangiru. These are people that at a very young age went outside the country, fought for the liberation of this country. You cannot then say, because you opposed them in 1990, in 1999, then all of a sudden you engage in a process of othering and you say, because they are not part of us, they are not for the people. These are people who participated in the liberation struggle. Your Rugare Gumbos, Darele Chimurenga, isn't it? Mind Juru, your Didmas Mutasa, your John Mvundura, all those were characters that we had. And to see that these are people that believed in what they stood for. They stood against President Mugabe then, and they had reservations on the direction within which ZANU-PF was going. And you cannot then all of a sudden begin to say, because they don't belong to us, they don't belong to our small political grouping, you say they are anti the people. Which people are you talking about? Because I would like to ask you, who are the people that are saying these were not for the people? They were against the people. Who are they? Are they the so-called opposition political leaders? And are they also for the people? Are they for the people? They are not. You know, the problem that we have, and I thought this might inform even the discussion that we are having. When I said the problem that we have, and I think it was before this show, the problem that we have is the problem of the politics within our people. Not necessarily even the so-called political players, your MPs, your presidents, or what. Our people. What's their perception of politics? What's the end game for them? What is the premium that they put on an electoral office? If someone comes in and says he wants to be a president, what is the premium that the people actually put on that? What are the...
Okay, so I really think Zimbabweans know what they want. They're very clear on that. They know what they want. They know the type of leadership they want. And how do you see it? You saw it by how the opposition came into play, and also look at what has been happening over the years in terms of trying to really dismantle dictatorship. But I think within ZANU-PF, it was captured by criminals. That's what I'm seeing here. And these people were very much strategic. I think from the outsiders, I don't think... White people just left, like the way that you think they left, they did not, because they don't lose a battle. They'll fight you, like they've got their own way of fighting most of the times. So I think they were captured by people, started working with outsiders out there, and then with some of the guys that you call your billionaires, big boys. So it's sad in a way when you see what's happening in the country. From Robert Mugabe, the very same people were very close to Mugabe, and then when Mugabe, I went to heaven, when he was booted out, and they also move again, the same group of people, and aligning themselves again with the president. And you have had a lot of deals that they are doing, from the Reserve Bank with individuals. They're very connected people. You can see how the money is just being channeled within their ranks, and they are the ones that capture the state. Unfortunately, they're hiding behind a political party, right? Because when you really look at the people that actually fought for the country, majority of them, do you remember last time when the war veterans went to say, hey guys, the money that you're giving us is a little, please can you just aid a little bit? They were actually arrested for saying so. Does that make sense to you? Right, they fought for the country, but they were being arrested for actually speaking out. what happens with criminals is that when they're very good at make sure that they buy people. They use that kind of, I give you money and I control you, I can control. It's almost in most countries. It's when you look at South African context, they struggle with crime because most of the times, people they get bought or like they get intimidated. You're either gonna die or whatever. You play, according to our instructions. So I really think the Zimbabwean thing is very sad in a way because I don't know why we can't deal with it as it is, than to start lying and fighting within politics. But we know it's not the politics the problem. It's criminals the problem, that we should just look at them and say, hey, stop wasting our time. Let's do the right thing. You can't tell me $15 billion disappear and there's no explanation. Then you know that people are really just maybe under duress in many ways. You also look at, you hear a lot about the judiciary, which he's going to talk about as well. So I'm sitting on the other side, I'm like, guys, the question we need to ask is, when are you going to stop? Or you have chosen that this generation has to be wiped out? Still in all this confusion and your shenanigans, because there is no reason for us to be where we are today. There are so many ways to come out of this. Have a political settlement, arrest criminals, because these criminals are going to be arrested anyway. There will come a time that even dirty money won't protect you. That time is coming very soon. People aren't as stupid as you think they are. Something's gonna give. You know what I mean? Something is gonna give. Prepare the way. You are not as smart as you think you are. I can see young boys, that kind of roaming around with these big wigs. They think, oh, we have arrived, and this is what you call life. Some of you're gonna end it in prison, young boys. Your destiny, all these excitement that you have are short-lived. It's wickedness has got its own day. It's gonna be tough. It's going to be tough for you. Honestly, it's gonna be tough. And I feel for the young boys. I feel for the kids, for the young kids who thinks, oh my God, it's all about ZANU. No, it's not about ZANU-PF. It's about your criminal activities. Don't hide behind the political party, because there are so many people in ZANU-PF who are suffering today. And they are really legit people who are not even digging their hands in corruption and in evil. So we really can't rope an entire political party and say all of them are bad people. No, we can't. We cannot do that.
Demands. What is it that they look up to from a leader? For me, that's a very important thing that we have to engage in as a people. Not necessarily to say this one is for the people, that one is against the people, because as far as I see it, no one is for the people. Is what is happening in Triple C for the people? Which people?
Let's have a conversation around that. If no one is for the people, then what should the people do? That's why I was saying the environment has to be conducive for people to freely participate in the governance of their country. If you are free to express yourself, you are even free to question your environment. You are saying, this is where I am. I'm hungry. What is causing my hunger? Your definition of the problem is not affected by fear. If my hunger is caused by El Nino, I will say it's caused by El Nino. If it is caused by looting of state resources, I should be able to say that freely without expecting that someone would then, after I say that, would then say, passing away, Because if you can't define your problem, truly define it, you cannot find a solution to it. But you have been outspoken on social media platforms. You are also you have been outspoken on many electoral debates. You have sat opposite people like Christopher Mutsvangwa and pointed them directly in their face and told them that they are a problem. You're still standing. You have not disappeared. You have not been killed. This is a free country.
I think on that issue of him being intimidated, he spoke a lot about that. But I think Zimbabweans just want freedom. And I've told you overnight, literally overnight, things will change. So if Zimbabweans are like a person who is in an abusive relationship, you prefer to go and sleep on the floor. Yeah, like I'm going to sleep on the floor. It's fine. I'll be okay. I can leave a mansion and go and have my peace somewhere. And your freedom starts there. It's just leaving the environment of abuse. and then you find yourself in the place of peace. Overnight, I can tell you, if you think I'm lying, look, check what happened in 2017. The excitement was real. Everyone was happy. The armies were taking all pictures. The military junta, what's going on with y'all? Why do you protect the criminals? I think that's the question that we need to talk about. You remember Jailers once actually, he spoke about it. I remember when they were having a meeting, Mutsvangwa was there, and he said, bring the military. What do they want from Zimbabweans? So that at least we can come out of this mess. That was then. I also feel like Zimbabwe's situation is set in a way that we forget easily. And ZANU-PF knows that, they kind of play with our minds. Something happens, we talk about it, then we forget. The gold mafia came. I forgot about it. We spoke about it and we hyped about it, and then that was it. We need to start really focus on solving issues than just talk about it and then that's it, we move to the next thing. And then ZANU-PF keep on throwing dead cats, and then we jump again, we move to another cat that is dead. No. We need to start looking and say, no, we need a solution right now. We don't want to hear about tomorrow, now. This is why it's important to create a culture of, we're going to sit around the table. Your leaders, you gallivant in different countries where they sit around the table. Okay, they'll sit around the table. But what stops you from sitting around the table with your own people and have a conversation? Again, because criminals, that's how they operate. They avoid conversation because they know that they'll be caught. But how long are you going to hide? How long are you going to hide? Because you're eventually going to answer for all your evil. Not only are you going to answer, you're going to lose quite a lot. I can only imagine moving from glory to nothing. Huh? It's sad. So where to from here, now that we know what we've been going through? And the bottom line is that because we are approaching, 2028 is very soon, but I don't think 2028 will get there. Honestly, I don't think we'll get there because right now there's nothing going on right now as we speak. Nothing is going on. So since last year, when ZANU-PF grabbed this whole thing, what are they doing? Except corruption. What are they doing? Because there's nothing going on, something has to happen. Because we are human beings that has to see progress. But if there is no progress, what happens? Something has to happen. Because we want to move forward. We can't keep us stuck here. And you can't keep us at ransom forever. We want to move on. Something has to give. Our people are done. They're not just quiet. They want a way out of this mess, unfortunately. So they're also asking where to from here? That we all have seen where we are, where to from here? Something has to give. We have to come out of this mess, whether you like it or not. Unfortunately, you cannot win all the time. We can't keep on bending our rules to suit criminals. It's can't. Evidence is there. I mean, we talk of this 15 billion, it's nothing. How many scandals that have happened in the country? I still remember Priscilla, if I'm not mistaken, it's the name of Priscilla, if I'm not mistaken, the lady that was being, accused of looting the money for pensioners. These people don't fear God, yes. And I'm thinking, like, honestly, you're taking money for the elders. That's a case, heavy case. They don't feel, this, like, honestly, I don't know if they, okay, it's really sad. Where to from here?
To proffer solutions. What do you think is for Zimbabwe going forward as we inch towards 2028? How do we make our country a better country that can compete the family of nations and also make sure that the lives of its people are better? I mean, the Zim stats show that most of our kith and kin in this country are living in their numbers. Some to do very, very embarrassing jobs out there. but so that they can make better, lives for their children. Some have been working, families have been separated. The wife is in Zimbabwe taking care of the kids and trying to send them to school, while the husband is in South Africa, in the streets, they sending money back home so that they can just give their children a bit of some decent education and decent shelter above their heads and feed their tummies.
I hope you have made this known to the Minister of Finance, that there are folks who are running away from paid-for houses and fully paid-for cars.
Surely, most of those mansions, the people who own them don't stay.
They have left, isn't it? So it's an indication that what he is gloating about is actually something that is not helping us. It's not helping the owners. What we need to do, and which I think is the import of your question, what we need to do is to guarantee freedoms. If we guarantee freedoms, we allow our people to freely think, to freely define their problem. Because for me, there lies the most fundamental thing in problem definition. If people are allowed to say, yesterday I was listening to the news and I heard that Sadc was saying this country loses 2 billion.
1.8 billion.
They were saying 2 billion to corruption.
That's a lot of money.
And who is taking that 2 billion? We need to freely discuss and to find out, to say,
Yeah.
And you are the one stealing.
Yeah.
You are the one who has turned the whole country into a cartel, into a secret society which only benefits those that are inside. What do we do with you? And these are the questions that we are supposed to be freely engaged in. Do we impeach you if you are the president? If that individual is a political party, is a legal persona, do we vote you out? And we should be free. We should be free to engage in those discussions. To say, well, you are saying we are fixing roads, but at what cost? We know the standard rate is $1 million per kilometer, but we know you are charging $3 million.
Sure.
And the contractors are saying that. So there's some force there. You have to charge $3 million in order for us to give you the tender. But we will come and take the 2 million because we know you can do this with 1 million and still make profit. And suddenly every road. That's why Chungona Pamaro, Papasiwa, 3 million Yajabuda, Pamaro, Pasiwa, 3 million Yajabuda, because there's someone who is looking at 2 million Yake, IPAP. 2 million, but that kilometer, 2 million. So Mukawana, a whole lot. My roads are Maranzuro, and it's 2 million per every kilometer. I say, meanwhile, now the task is now on the contractor Chigas there. But in Daita, you can't be running a country like that. We want things to be transparent.
Yeah.
I find it so disconcerting for me. Julius Nyerere was a solid road, and
yet his second street has been closed. But Section 8 closed is just 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. 1 month. I'm sorry, what is it? But meanwhile, someone has already pocketed his 2 million. We don't want to be running a country till Bava. Let's learn from even what the president of El Salvador has done. If the president is not involved in the looting, he should be there to say,
right.
I am a president who is not stealing, and I don't want my legacy murdered by people that are stealing around me. And you know what the El Salvador Prime Minister has done? He called a cabinet, called in the prosecutor general and said, You are not a member of the executive, but investigate all of us, starting from here. Anyone, either any shady deals, Sungai. That's what we need. We need transparency. Yes, the roads are being fixed. At what cost? Is that difficult to do? Because I believe those are the requirements. Taneshwa Matenda, isn't it? Those that win Matenda's outline. We are going to do this and this and this and this at this cost. Why don't you publish that information so that you generate confidence in some of us who are gifted with wanting to know the costs? Because I think of that, which my satire, Baba. To that was at what cost to the country, to the taxpayer. And you can do that if you are transparent. But if you are taking 2 million, you make sure that it is as between public. It's never publicized. So we need to create a conducive environment where our people are free to participate in politics, free to participate in their economy, and also free to question the actions of those that are in power. Because at the end of the day, they are public servants. They are our servants. We should not be afraid to question what our servants are doing. The power is reposed in us as the people, and we therefore have the right to question what they are doing. And we.
Am I the only one who find the word power so like someone is in power? I find it very disturbing because it seems like it's giving this person so much, like it's like placing someone on a pedestal. I feel like any leader, be it a president, members of parliament, they're servants. So I don't like the word power. It's so backward. We're looking for leaders. We're not looking for rulers here. Leaders, what they do is they move one step and say, how far are you? Follow me. This is where I'm taking you to. But honestly, ZANU-PF, and I'm going to ask you a question. Where are you taking us to? Where are you going? Which direction are you taking this nation to? Because leaders, they take a step and say, follow me. And leaders believe in introspection. They believe in a conversation. So I don't want to be, talk about rulers. I want to talk about leaders. Are they really leaders, these people? ZANU-PF, are you leading Zimbabweans? Because you're so much detached to the Zimbabwean people. Remember, I read for you earlier on when I started, for those that were not here, and I'm going to repeat again, that there's this mistake view that if you can control the state, then you have control of the society. But the society has become so privatized and so de-linked in many ways from the state, such that even if you do control the state, you may not be able to control society. And this was actually Sizwe Mpofu Welsh. You can still control whatever you're doing in ZANU-PF, but you are so detached to everyone in the country. We don't even know what you're doing. Whenever I see whatever ZANU-PF is doing, I literally scroll and just say, I don't have time for this. Let me move. Next. Your meetings are boring. Some people that we see in parliament, we don't even know them. We've never seen them even, we don't even, they have an X account. What are they doing? We simply see them sitting, some of them sleeping. Your stuff that you're doing, we are tired. Nothing is working. So I'm tired of the power word. I want to hear leadership. Are you leading the people? Because leaders are very much inclined to their people. Are you? You're not. You're not. You're just doing your thing. You're abusing people. Be it election, you're abusing everybody. You are say there's an election. The processes are definitely a mess. You come there on that election day, you're abusing people, sleeping on polling stations. You have no shame. You actually like it's normal. You are moving from having this, lying to the people and creating the whole chaos. And then you act like you want people to believe in a lie? Like the entire nation should believe in your life. Honestly, this has to stop. This is not a political issue here. It's how you're treating the people. That is evil and it is wrong. It must be stopped. You think it's a joke? But if you don't stop, there'll be consequences. And they are coming, the consequences are coming. You are not going to escape. Hey, God is no respect of persons. And you must remember, power that you think you have, it has got an end. Eventually, you will pay for it. And some of people who are helping to do all the shenanigans of lying on elections, you're going to pay for it. Because you're wasting our life and wasting our time. We have a destiny to fulfill. We have purposes to fulfill. Our families are in disarray. We want to unite our people. Our families has to be, again, our families have to unite. Once again, we are sick and tired of your abuse. You need to stop. This is not a political, I'm not a politician, but I'll tell you, as a sister here, what you need to stop. What you're doing is wicked, is evil. And you really have to stop.
We have to know. When we are doing Mashingo, Bedbridge Road, Harare Bedbridge Road, how many kilometers are there? How much did you use? Give us per kilometer. Give us the BOQ. Not what is it subject to speculation. No. But if there are shady deals, if there are clandestine things happening, they would want it not to be known. If you begin to make those demands, what we are an enemy of the state.
I want to thank you very much, Jealous Mawarire, for having this conversation with me on this, the Free Talk, proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom. But before you leave, Jealous, I'll just give you an opportunity to look the people of Zimbabwe and just, maybe from your heart, share something that maybe I didn't ask, or something that you feel strongly about that you would want the people of Zimbabwe to take away from this conversation.
I would like our people to know that they are the ones that have power. They are the ones that should put a premium on their vote. They are the ones who know what's supposed to be done. And they are supposed to participate, they are supposed to question, they are supposed to interrogate, and they are supposed to actually call to order those that are misbehaving with our finances, in our economy, with our freedoms. And we should be doing that freely, without any fear. In any case, the only sad thing that they can visit unto people like us is death. But anyway, we will all die. We won't be here in the next 100 years. Maybe it's given in the next 100 years, we won't be here. We would have died. So we don't fear death. People should not fear death. People should be prepared even to pay the ultimate price for what is good for us and for our children.
So you know what? Maybe in the next 100 years, all of us will be in heaven to be with our Father, Yahweh, our Daddy. So who's not going to die? If a person comes and starts threatening with death, I'm like, you're a fool. Are you going to live here forever? You're foolish. Everyone is going to die. It's actually being stupid. It's really being stupid, So it's very important, guys, that we need to start really prepare for the new Zimbabwe that is coming. I know some people are saying, which Zimbabwe? It's coming. Yeah, you need to know that it's coming. You can scream all you want, but the new Zimbabwe is around the corner. It's coming. And I'm super excited that we are almost there, The Zimbabwe that we want, the lives that we know we deserve, a Zimbabwe of peace, of respect, of honor. When we're going to fulfill purpose and peace, building our country, building the walls that they broke down, building, what are you talking about? The roads, we are going to show them how roads really are being built. I'm talking about 4 lanes. What are you talking about? It's coming. It's coming. And in our lifetime, they will see it, but some of them won't even drive their cars there because they'll be locked up. In prisons that they've actually destroyed, they will be locked up. That's where they'll be staying there. Yes, the time is coming. It's very close, actually. So yeah, what can we say? God is so good. He is really so good. I love you so much, guys. Don't remember, we are very close, all right? We're going to be meeting in Zimbabwe soon. Prepare either way. Prepare either one. May God bless you and may God bless Zimbabwe. So you must sleep tight, and for those that are just waking up, I love you so much. Have a good one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.